Hello, friends. Chris Duncan, the Texas School Director, and I'm joined by one of our illustrious photographers, Joe Glyda, and he's going to have a class this year, 2026, called Commercial Photography Beyond the Basics. So thank you, Joe, for joining us on our call today.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad to have you and glad to have you back at Texas School with your commercial photography course. But before we get into that, I've known you for a long time and had some good times at Texas School. And I know some of our students and listeners may know of Joe Glyda, but for those that may not know Joe Glyda, give us your long career in just about 60 seconds. Can you?
Oh my gosh, that's just to give you my my title. No, actually, I started in photography when I was really young. I was probably 8, and I ended up starting at Kraft Foods in the mailroom in Chicago, and found out they had a photography department. So I was bringing some of my pictures I was doing at home and showing them to their 9 photographers, and they were like, "Dude, you need to, yeah, it's really good. Just keep going." Well, I ended up and getting on the cover of Professional Photographer magazine after the 3rd picture I ever took on an 8x10 view camera. So I worked for Kraft Foods for 36 years and ran their photography studio, and then moved to Oklahoma and took an early retirement in 2009. And it's just been fun ever since. Yeah. And I'm still shooting to this day. So this will be my 49th year.
Wow. That's incredible. So I like the story about you taking your prints. You're like the people now when you say, hey, I'm a photographer, they show you your phone on the airplane. Yeah. You were that guy 49 years ago.
I was taking black and white prints, like 8x10s, and I would make in the basement in my darkroom.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, kid, keep going. Yeah. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. So some things change and some things don't. Joe was that guy 49 years ago. So your class, Commercial Photography Beyond the Basics. When I think of commercial photography, man, I can think, real estate, food, product, models, editorials, ad layouts. I mean, that's a big gamut. So kind of in your class, what are some things that you want to focus on in the commercial photography world?
Well, I really kind of start out the entire class is based on understanding commercial in the first place, because there are too many portrait photographers who aren't making enough money in portrait work and are trying to get into commercial. And then after they do 1 or 2 jobs, they can't get any more jobs, and they can't figure out why. It's because they're working in a whole different mode. And so I really explained the difference between portrait photography and commercial, because each one has its own parameters, its own, their own little way of doing things, even down to the color space. And when I tell commercial photographers, or I tell portrait photographers that if you're going to print an image in a book, you should have your unsharp masking at 300. They look at me like I have 3 heads, because they don't understand this printing side. So I really go into the whole understanding of commercial versus portrait. And we cover a little bit of everything. We do product shots, we do chrome, we do glassware, reflective surfaces, a little bit of painting with light, a little bit of food photography, just to kind of give them a taste of all the different types. And then we talk about working with the layouts, working with an art director, and what does it take to do that. And I think that's where I kind of are a little different from other photographers that teach commercial, is because I want to get them a taste of a little bit of everything, and yet still give them enough where they can go out and do a commercial job.
Yeah. So really just setting them up for success, because the whole marketplace for commercial, listen to you, is different than portrait. The lexicon they have to use, the people they talk to, and
it's a whole different language. I mean, we start talking day rates and usage fees, and people are like, what are you talking about? And then talking about the art director and the account rep and the client and who are all these other people that are involved. I thought this was just me. Yeah. Well, when you're shooting portrait, you're shooting for that person that's going to be hanging on the wall in their house. When you're shooting for commercial, they don't care about you at all. It's all about the product. That's the number one product. It's not about your specialty and what you can do. It's how you can produce that product for them to give them what they want. Yeah. And that it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead and back up to going into your class a little bit more, but talking about this, adding this, you want to give people a taste of commercial. So if you're looking to play matchmaker or who's a good student, I mean, it sounds like a great candidate for your class is someone that is looking for an extra revenue stream, or, they're not working on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. They're doing everything in the evening with high school seniors or families to squeeze in some commercial work. Is that a good student candidate for this
No,
class, or they already need to be
usually
commercial photographers?
it's usually the person who wants to get out of portrait and go into commercial. And I've had 3 or 4 people that have taken my class and have totally gone commercial and are doing really well. Um, and I think that's part of the thing is like just to understand how commercial works that you never ever thought of before,
Mhm.
especially with pricing. I mean, pricing just we talk about pricing. I don't get into exactly how much you should be charging, but I give you the basics on how to figure out what that price should be and how you can work that into your daily work routine.
Yeah, that's good. So kind of let's think about your class. So you mentioned food and product and glass and chrome and some of the business side. But so what does a day in your class look like? I mean, are like bring your cameras and get your hands
Yep,
dirty?
yep. Yeah, you'll get your hands dirty. Your head will be spinning by day 2. I've had a couple people cry on the first day because they're just like, I can't take this. No, it's just I'll do some presentations so you can actually see the way things are done. And then we're going to try to have by the end of the week, or at least Wednesday or Thursday, there'll be 5 sets. And you could go to each of the different sets. And if you want to work on glass, or you want to work on the product, or you want to do on clothing, or you want to do painting with light, we have different sets set up. So even though you're going to learn each of those different types, you're still going to be able to shoot.
Yeah.
We try to do a little bit of not real estate, but architectural photography. We go out one day and either shoot the lobby, or we'll shoot an outside shot, but give them an idea and understand what that entails, as opposed to just real estate.
Yeah.
So
So
a little bit of everything. And I don't know how it's going to work this year because I know the schedule is going to be different. But usually on Thursday, I've taken them to a grocery store and let them, get them to understand how food looks when it's on the product.
yeah,
And they're shocked. And when they come back, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I will never go in a grocery store again."
that's right.
After looking at what you just showed us. So it's a very different way of looking at food as opposed to looking online, which, most people that have websites out there haven't even been in business for 2
Mhm.
years. And
Mhm.
yet they're all looking at what they're doing and like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. So
Yeah.
I give them a good taste of everything.
Yeah, you do. And one thing I can say, Joe didn't say this, you'll probably laugh that first day too. Joe's one of the funniest people I know, and will be
I have a lot
injecting
of
his sense,
stories. I have
he'll
a
be
lot of
injecting his
stories.
sense of humor to the event as well. So, and I just want to say from a personal testimony, Joe was one of I think the second class I took at Texas School, and then wrangled for him for a few years. And I've been doing commercial photography ever since as part of our business too. So it definitely works. It's definitely helpful, and definitely helped me switch my mindset from portrait to commercial and understanding the differences. So I owe a lot to Joe and what he's helped me do in my career. And I know people in your class this year will owe that to you as well. So appreciate all the experience that you bring. And and we didn't even talk about this before the meeting. We were going to talk about what I wanted to ask you, but in the world of AI and digital compositing and stuff, I've had some commercial clients come to me and they're like, Chris, I want to try this AI thing. And I'm like, you can do what you want to do. It's your business. But if a customer doesn't trust the image they see, they're not going to trust the product you're going to deliver. And so I
Three
think,
words. 3 words I use: truth in advertising.
yeah,
It's been around since day one when they were talking about using fake food and subliminal advertising. You still have to use the real product and you have to show what the product really is. Truth in
yeah.
advertising. So there will
So,
always
so
be looking for good commercial photographers.
yeah. Well, I think that's what I wanted to, that's kind of what I was hitting on is like, if you're kind of worried about where the AIs come in and, is it a threat on photographers? And there may be some areas of our industry that it sneaks in, but this is one that I think businesses are still going to need that quality imagery.
Yep.
In fact, I think that's the part of my business that's grown the most is commercial over the last several years. So
Yeah.
just some word of encouragement for those people that might be concerned about where the future of our industry is going. Joe's had his hand on that for the last 49 years. So he can tell you
I
that
still have
that's,
my hands on it. And I do use AI. I use AI when I'm working on my business stuff, trying to,
Mhm.
come up with the right email to send or the right words to use. I am a corporation, so when I want to have a corporate meeting, I'll be like, hey, ChatGPT, give me an agenda for a
Mhm.
stockholders meeting, and it'll just spit everything out, old business, new business, and then I just fill all the information and paperwork, and I just sign it, and all right, I had a staff meeting.
Yeah.
So it's just a good way to use it to help you do your business, just like retouching was. I'm going through old slides right now and looking at all these original slides that I took, and it's like, oh my gosh, these are all reportage. There was no retouching. You had to shoot everything. We
Mhm.
were given 3 sheets of film, an 8x10. You had one exposure right on the money, a third under, and a third over. That was it. There was no like, well, I'll send it to the retoucher. I'll get it done different. You had to do it the right way. So I try to teach people to get it done in the camera the right way the first time.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a great thing that I know I still try to do from your teaching all those years ago. So, um, okay, this is kind of you can answer this philosophical or practical or maybe some of both. But and I've asked every guest that I've had on these. This question is like, Texas school's over. They've had a great time in your class. They've gone to the supermarket and they'll never look at a tomato the same way again. That's true. You know, you'll never buy the crinkled bag of chips because it's not going to work. You got to buy the smooth, all these things that he's going
You
to.
buy 10 bags of chips and you pick all the best ones out.
That's right. Yeah. And ice, don't even get me started on ice. Ice is it's a whole nother thing. But all that aside, their shopping's going to change, obviously. But when they're back at after Texas school and they've experienced this class with you, what are some things that you think, how's your life better? And what are the things that a student that took your class, your commercial photography class, Joe, what are they going to be able to do that they could not do before?
I will give them the ability to have confidence into taking on a job. I will explain that when someone calls you for a job, you don't just say, yeah, I'll do it. Or if they call and say, hey, how much does this cost to do this? You're not going to answer right away, but it's going to give you the confidence to go out and perform a good commercial job and get that customer to come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the biggest thing that I try to talk about. I'm not going to give names, but there's one guy that came to my Texas school class, and he was kind of, he was like, I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything else and nothing else works. And all of a sudden, when he got back from my class, he called me a month later and he says, oh my gosh, I just got this um, job shooting knives, and I never would have accepted the job, but I know exactly just from shooting chrome, like you taught us how to do this, and I had the confidence to shoot. And I think he's been shooting their knives for the last 5 years,
Yeah.
and he's a regular. It's a regular customer. Another photographer that I know, she's just came to me and she said, "I don't ever want to shoot portrait anymore. I'm tired of all these." I tell people I shoot things that don't talk back. So, and I told her, this is where you go. This is what you do. This is how to do it. And she just landed a big Johnson and Johnson's job last week, and I think her invoice was something like $20,000. So you'll have the confidence to take on bigger and better projects without ever thinking about it. And yes, commercial photography is very different. It's not like you get a job like 3 or 4 times a week. It could be once a week or twice a week, but the jobs are bigger and they take
Mm-hmm.
up more time and they take up more planning and there's a lot more involved, but you'll have the confidence to do that when you leave.
Yeah. Well, I think there's really not a greater tool than you can give someone is the confidence to believe in themselves and to believe in the product they're building. Because I know one thing, and I think this goes true for for probably any industry. But one thing I learned from you, Joe, is like, um, if you mess up a commercial job, there's really no going back. I mean, if you mess up someone's portrait or you're sick that day, you can probably reschedule, or it's not that inconvenient for maybe a high school senior to come in if there's a mistake or a family. It's inconvenient, but it's not the end of the world. You mess up a commercial job, you're only like 1/10 of that entire project.
Right.
That,
Right.
so it's a much bigger.
I right now I'm shooting for an engineering company that does instruments for refineries, and they will call me and say, we need this shot today. or tomorrow because on Friday we're sending it to Saudi Arabia and we've got to have it out of the factory right away. Can you do that? And you have that day and one time, one shot only. So you can't get back and go, oh, it's out of focus. Or,
Yeah.
Everything's got to be right on the money because that machine is gone. You can't go back and shoot it again.
Yeah.
So you have to, there's a lot of things you have to learn and do and do right when you're in a commercial field as opposed to portrait work.
Yeah. And I know that may sound intimidating to someone listening, but I tell you, it should not be intimidating because Joe is Joe's the perfect guide and the perfect guide to take you through that. And like he said, to give you the confidence that when you get back to your studio Monday after Texas school and that phone rings, you know exactly what to do, exactly how to handle it, and just grow your business in the world of commercial photography. So, Joe, before we close, where can people see more of your work and learn more about you?
You can see me. I'm on my website is jglyda.com. That's it. And there's food. And, Chris, this in the last 10 years, I've been doing a lot of World War II aviation. So I produced a book, a coffee table book, and that's on that website as well. And so you can see some of the artwork. I've turned actual photographs into artwork and produced a coffee table book and prints, and they're in museums all over the country. And it has been phenomenal. So I've been to Normandy 3 times and was there for the 75th anniversary, the 80th, and then last year I went again with Dwayne Lee from Dallas.
Yeah,
and it's just been amazing. But I continue shooting, and I love what I do. I love photography. I'm not a good photographer, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, don't sell yourself short. You're a great photographer, an amazing educator, and a beautiful person. So, Joe Glyda, thank you so much for being an instructor at Texas School. If you're interested in Joe's class, Commercial Photography Beyond the Basics, you can learn more at texasschool.org. This year's dates are April 26th through May 1, and we hope to see you all in April.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody.